You could tell you couldn't even hear me too. Our astute engineer is not here, and so I'm ready to board. I forgot to put it on the sound, but back up. Hey, we're here.
And and we're enjoying this evening that we're being here with you.
Exactly, exactly. Well, you want to tell a little bit of who we are? We got three people already popped in today.
And welcome to those people who are here with us. We are Sharon and Imar, or Sharon and Craig, or
Mm-hmm.
Imar and Zare,
Mm-hmm.
and we are taking the journey together.
Yes, taking the journey together. Won't you tell us a little bit about our show, would you?
Sure, we are relationship coaches, and we talk about having or what it takes to have and maintain a thriving relationship. And that relationship has to do with whether you are married, cohabiting, or whatever, as long as it is a committed relationship. And what we always say, or what we believe, is that you should uh, start your relationship with your friend. When you meet that person and you start forming that friendship, and the friendship is allowed to grow as it will, and that friendship becomes um, uh, a committed relationship. I'm sorry, I started reading something and
No,
lost
no,
track.
you were looking at what
Yeah,
I just popped
I
up
know.
real quickly. I'm sorry about that. It's all over your beautiful face too. Go ahead.
and, and when that relationship grows as it well should, and you move into a committed more of a committed relationship, that friendship turns into a lovership, and you become one with each other. And you don't have to choose between your friend or your lover to have a relationship with, because you are having that balanced relationship in that one individual. So together you are having a thriving relationship.
Wow, you got that out pretty good. Hey, so hey, make sure you go and share right now. Please share with your friends, share with your family, share with your partner, share with someone maybe down the street, share with your enemies too. We don't care, but share alike so that everyone who don't know about us can now get to know more about us, especially on this beautiful ATR network. And plus, you'll get a chance to take home something, some information nuggets we're going to be talking to you about today. In fact, what is our subject, our continuation? Because, we were not live last week because we were
I
busy
know.
emceeing another particular event that was in Savannah. But what
Getting ready for
getting
it
ready for it,
anyway.
that is.
Yeah.
So, what is it that they had to see or they saw last time? Oh,
Last time we
the
were
topic.
talking about men having feelings, and is it okay for men to have feelings and show their feelings as well? And that's one of those big topics that uh, is relegated to a small space usually. Quite often we don't talk about it, but
Hmm.
it's like blaring right out there in front of us.
Yes, and I like how you say that. Some of us are men. I'm kind of like a woman would say, I hear you shouting at me, but your mouth ain't moving. Meaning we keep our feelings very much hidden to ourselves, and we don't necessarily say anything. But before
But it
we,
comes out in your actions.
yeah, sadly, some of our good
Yes.
actions, some of our bad actions. But let's start with our hot button. Okay, you
Yes.
want to put it up there?
Yes. Let me grab a hot button.
Mm-hmm.
Hot. We are hot.
Okay.
You should be hot too. It's like what was that song?
Don't know.
With in the Lion King,
Mm-hmm.
Hakuna Matata.
Okay.
You are very hot.
So
We are
tell
very
us a little
hot,
bit
and you
about
can
the
be
hot
hot too.
button. What does it mean? If anybody's been listening to our show and wants to comment what the hot button means, you can go ahead and do it.
And
But
get
if
yourself
not,
your own hot button
get a free hot
free.
button. Come to think of it, and
Yes.
they're only $5. You can see on the bottom. We're trying to make sure the money goes to this ATR network so it can help it out. There needs to be funds. People like us and others will volunteer our time, but we believe what this network is doing is good for the community, and in turn it's good also for us. Now we may not be as highfalutin, or let's say as busy as Babel and I think the ones that Mr. Jamar
I think it's
is on Rabble,
rabble.
that Jamar, well, he babbles sometimes. Anyway, that Jamal is on with
We're
his star
all in
power,
all in love.
exactly with his star power from that particular end. But every show is important.
Exactly.
Every show on this network is important as it reach out and as we volunteer and reach out our time to help. But it takes money to make this ATR network to move and for it to upgrade and do all the things from marketing, do all those things from paying some good people and students who are doing internship. So please make sure that you look at getting a hot button. We'll start some good conversations when it comes to if you want to relate to a lady that she just looks good too, but you want to see if she got something upstairs. What a way to be able to start that. And for ladies, you see a guy, he looked good and thuggish and all that stuff, but you want to see if he's got something up in his head too. Hey, some guys look thug, they got something in their head.
Absolutely.
So you can use that button to start that conversation. You could even say, hey, don't I look hot? And then kind of go from there. So anyway, what does hot mean? Sharon, tell us what hot means.
Well, since nobody chimed in, I'm going to go ahead and add the information. Hot is honest, open, and transparent.
Honest, open, and transparent.
And that's what you should be in a relationship if you want a balanced, healthy, thriving relationship.
Exactly. You definitely want to have that. Wow.
Okay, I'm going to put this down.
Go ahead, because I know your arm's resting.
Yeah.
Well, they can see a button too. My button should have been a little bit higher. Wow, I'll have to have you put that button on me next time.
Yes.
Wow. So let's get right into this. Don't stick me, please. Okay. So let's get right into this topic. I think it's a very hot topic too when it comes to exactly when it comes to feelings. I think we had someone before, hopefully he's on here again. He talked about when it came to his feelings, he did the traditional kind of feeling route when it comes to a guy, which was I don't let anyone know. I'm assuming he's talking about his mate. I don't let her know my feelings. Yeah, she don't need to know, or something like that.
And sometimes what I have found is males don't even let their other male friends know their feelings.
Well,
because it seems like a weakness.
I don't necessarily say that's true all the time. You're a female, so you're not maybe privileged to all conversations.
That's why I said once.
But a lot of men do, whether it's in the football locker or whether it's at home, we downstairs drinking, or we're on the basketball court, or we all sit in the car doing some other stuff you ain't supposed to do. Or it could be just at home playing cards, or just my conversation I used to have with my uncles and stuff. We will talk about things in this feeling driven, no doubt about it's feeling driven, which
is a good thing.
Well, it all depends about what we're talking about. Sometimes if we're talking about our old lady or wives, it may not be a good thing, and we're giving our emotions behind it.
But at least you're getting it off your chest.
That's true. Some of us may be mad because we got to do the carpet and stuff like that. So, that honeydew stuff. But we will talk about our feelings many times between one another. Remember the movie that was called Why Did He Get Married? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remember how Tyler Perry did take a good snapshot of seeing some brothers talk with one another. Yeah. Now, were they letting their feelings be exposed or not?
They were.
Oh yeah,
they were.
And that movie, I saw it several times with several different women at that particular time, and most of the audience in that theater were women.
Oh yeah.
And I could I could hear them gasping, laughing, and almost being ultimately surprised of hearing men talk about their feelings between one another. Yeah. It's like we as men sometimes have this, ultimate feeling of, I wonder what it looks like inside of a woman's bathroom. Do they have chairs? Do they have a couple of guys that kind of massage them, make them feel good? Do they have opulent faucets and stuff like that? Because it's like it's been a place you just don't go to all of your life. Right. So this is the same thing when it comes to male feelings. It's like, no, it's taboo. You don't know about it. We don't talk about it. And not to women mostly for men. So hopefully that will help you out in that end.
Yeah, and that does. My statement really came from I've been around a lot of males who have had their feelings on prison lockdown. They have imprisoned their feelings, and that's one way of looking at it, to me anyway. In which once you put your feelings there, you're not necessarily they're not necessarily going to get on parole unless you get somebody who
they just ain't gonna let you know it.
Exactly.
And so we're here to try to talk about from a thriving relationship point of view,
Mhm.
a healthy relation point of view, from a balanced fairness in the relationship
Yeah.
point of view. That even though that prison that you talked about, good description too, we want to let men know very strongly, you can be free. You can be free. You can
Yes.
express how you feel. And what better would you not want to express how you feel with the woman you love?
Exactly.
That person that you're connecting with. I mean, as much as a lot of us grew up feeling somewhat okay, if not okay, being free to
Mhm.
talk to our very mom, that first
Yeah.
female that we were very open to talk
Mhm.
to. She was like a friend to us. And we know thriving and healthy relationships are always based on that kind of thing called friendship. So
Mhm.
that's very, very important. Very, very important. Now,
Absolutely.
I want to say to you, or to those who are listening, I was listening to a national radio a show today. Okay, and they were talking about well, actually, it was a sister who was talking about her plot in life, where she basically got into a deadly accident when she had head trauma twice
Ooh.
and almost died, and so she was all about trying to, well, she overcame all of it
Mhm.
and was able to think clearly and strategically from there in life when doctors said she was not going to have that opportunity. So she was putting on some kind of seminar or something to help people
With head injuries.
with head injury, or even if you didn't have head
Mhm.
injuries, to help you be able to think clearly and yada yada yada. But she said something that was significant that I want to put up there and want to put out as a question, and hopefully people are coming in now, bringing some of their friends, and need to have you, let people know about a show. We need to get our numbers up too. It's very, very important to get numbers up because I know people out there listening. I know people are delivering this information. We know it's doing some good at the same time. And in this station just not needs to know that it is needed. All the shows are needed. But anyway, this sister said on this national radio show, I'm looking up her where I wrote it down, and she said that sisters have banded together to make sure that their image is controlled in a positive way. And this was after some guy got on the phone who was a young black man and who said, I'm a nerd kind of guy. I grew up in high school, in college, and most of the time when I was acting like a nerd or intelligent, I was put down, I was looked upon, and that there was a need for that kind of image
Mm-hmm.
Out there in the movies, because they were talking about different images,
Right.
but they were talking from the area of excellence.
Mm-hmm.
That there needs to be in the area of excellence more movies, more shows that are showing black men who are intelligent, who might be nerdish like,
Yeah.
but have wisdom with them, who are good in business. And basically he said we're not seeing a lot of that whatsoever at all. And I grew up in such a way that I had to find different friends. I had to get around different people because of the fact that I basically was looked upon in a negative way by a lot of black women because I wasn't thuggish like. I
Yeah.
wasn't that bad boy look. And we got to change that image
Definitely.
on our TVs, on our radios. And I agree with them very much. We got to change that negative images.
Yes.
Really. And what a good way to do it starting now. From then. But she said something I thought was significant. She said to him when he asked about that concern, and she said, well, first of all, it's we as black women have bounded together and make sure that we control that image when it comes to us. I call it sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
So in our sisterhood, we control the image, whether it goes too far as being the angry black woman or goes too far as being that sultry, good-looking sister or the boss. But we control our image, and the problem with a black man is that they're not controlling their image.
Yeah.
They need to get together and control their image. They need to, change that image from being thugs or just nothing but sports athletes or and to being more, as we talked about before, wise, even if they're nerdish and smart and all that stuff. They need to change that, but they have to come together to do that. And I thought to myself, whoa, I was kind of like, well, before I go on from there when she spoke that, what do you guys feel about it? Do you feel when it comes to the image of a black man or a black male or a male in general, do you think that it's our job to change that image? And that, the sisters who have got together doing this, that sister girl thing, a sister girl of yah, whatever you may want to call it, or a circle, that you feel that it's just our job to change our image and that we got to get together to do that? And she's right about that? What do you think, Sharon? And if anybody got some comments who are listening, please leave your comments in there, and
And
we'll
we'll
go
put them
ahead
up.
and post it up, because I thought what she said was very interesting. I wouldn't say shocking, but I thought it was
Mhm.
very interesting that she actually said that, and she was very serious about that.
Yeah. I see. I have some issues with that
Hmm.
because to me that maintains separatism,
Mm.
and in a relationship, you can't have separatism. For example, if I've got my little my culture group, my female culture group that we're hanging out together and we're uplifting each other and all that, and I come home and you're home, just dealing with you as an individual and where
Hmm.
you are, and the negativity that is definitely coming to you, because black men have negativity coming at them from every turn. You have to admit that.
Hmm.
Um, and I just come home and I'm celebrating. Oh, we did this and we're doing that and blah 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 blah. Where does that leave you, other than in a position where you're not feeling good about yourself?
Mm.
I, as a female in this uplifted state, am not coming home to a healthy relationship.
Well, I mean, I think not being the Nixon or devil's advocate, not necessarily. I think what she was also saying was we need to be responsible for ourselves, even though in this case it's selves, because she's saying sisters are being responsible for selves and their image,
Yeah,
and that brothers need to be responsible for themselves
yeah.
when it comes to their image if they want to change it from that particular. And I kind of came to the conclusion it was one of those things I have said before, which is I guess the continuation of to you a sister does her thing. I used to say you do your thing, and then the black man has to start doing his own thing, and then somehow at the end of that we really will create a healthy, thriving relationship. Are
I
we really will stick together?
I don't
Or
think so.
be feel like we can
Yeah,
be together in that matter?
I don't think so, because we're not building together in that situation. I feel like if we have if I have this sisterhood that
Mhm.
is pulling us up together, why can't we reach back and grab your hand and their partner's hands and pull you up also?
So I want to hear some feedback. I know some of somebody out here is listening to us has some kind of thought or feelings. Either you agree with what we're saying or you don't agree. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and give us your comments or what your thoughts and what your feelings is, because the long time power struggle in relationship is
Mhm.
very real. And in the urban and black community, that is very, very real. That power struggle
Yes.
that we have. I mean, some people will say it's you can take it to the liking of the Willie Lynch syndrome, because it did talk about that in the Willie Lynch syndrome. In the continuation of us having that power struggle of who's going to lead, who's going to submit, who's going to lead is very, very real in our relationships. And of course, we on the other hand think that that doesn't create a healthy or a balanced relationship, but yet that is seemed to be the norm. And that's pretty much what she was saying as being the norm.
Mhm.
That hey, if you brothers want your image to be positive, you want your image to be changed than what it is, then don't expect us sisters to help you out. You're on your own. You got to do this on your own. So y'all brothers got to get together to do that, as us sisters get together to do that. And I just thought that was again the continuation of I do my thing, you do your thing, and that's how we get along in a relationship. I just don't know how that's going to help a relationship. I don't care if it's, even though I think the relationship that has to do with that committed relationship was married, or that long-term one, I think that's the first most important one.
Yeah.
But yet we know that if it's a relationship that's connected in the community also too, we know if you have that same mindset, it's going to bleed in your relationship.
Yes.
You're going to get in that relationship that other person you're committed to and say,
Right.
nah, you're on your own.
I
If you
agree.
got, if there's an image that's bad about you, I can't help you in that matter, because I'm gonna deal with me. If my image looks good in front of people, like for a woman, if I'm easy on the eyes, the guys seem to get along with me, and in turn I can get more things done because other guys and other people like how I look, how I talk, and excuse me, and I'm in a relationship with you, I ain't gonna do nothing to share any of those benefits because it's just coming to me, and you on your own to try to make that kind of hookup
But
and
see,
make that happen.
but see, you're not set up to be in a thriving relationship in the first place.
Okay.
If you have that kind of attitude, you're in a self-centered. You're coming from a self-centered point of view.
Mm-hmm.
There's no balance in that.
Mm-hmm.
There is no togetherness in that. It's all about you. If you have a situation where, you know, males are attracted to you for whatever reason and they're going to help you get where you're going, why shouldn't you grab your man by the arm and say, "Come on, baby, we're going to do this together,"
Mm-hmm.
and say, you know, and give him the opportunity to connect with other males, give him the opportunity to have that uplift, that belief that he can build himself up too. Maybe then he can get the idea of reaching out. Maybe then you can talk to him about forming some type of a coalition with other males.
Mm-hmm.
But then at some point, the male coalition that he forms
Mm-hmm.
and the female coalition that you're in need to bond together so that there is balance.
You know, I when you're talking about it, I remember that show about Big Mama. And I remember the young brother that got in prison and got out of prison, and he was married to the
Soul Food.
Soul Food. Excuse me. It was married to that young sister who was a beautician.
Mhm.
And remember, she went out of her way with her past boyfriend, who, man, he was arrogant as I don't know all what, was a salesperson for this one company. And she asked him on the side without him knowing about getting him a job.
Yeah.
And when he got that job, he was real proud. He really felt good about himself. Talking about feelings, you could hear, you could see and hear him talk about his feelings and how good he felt about getting that particular job. And then later on, finding out that she got that job from her past boyfriend without him even knowing that.
Yeah.
Remember how that blew up? So what do you so I guess we could see in that why that sister said naturally, you brothers need to get it together, because that was a situation where that brother didn't feel comfortable to even tell him about it. And when he did, he rubbed it all in his face. And he got pissed off and almost wanted to kill him.
But in that situation, she was not hot.
Okay.
She was not open, honest, and transparent.
Mm-hmm.
She took on the role of mothering him. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to set things up for my kids so that it can be all right. Well, he was not a kid. He was.
But she didn't want to hurt his feelings because she figured his pride wouldn't been hurt. That she went out of the way to help him get a job because he wanted to try to do one on his own. Mm-hmm. And obviously she really knew that he would be upset to find out that she got that job through her old past boyfriend.
Which is why I say she wasn't being hot. She knew he would be offended by that. Mm-hmm. Granted, she was trying to help him.
Yeah.
And not taking anything away from that. She was trying to do what was best for him. Mm-hmm. But, you know, instead of that, find a way to there were other things that she could have done. Granted, she was young and she didn't know, you know, a whole lot of things, but there were other things that she could have done. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that she should have done was said, one of my past boyfriends has this job and can give you a job. How do you feel about it?
Exactly.
And at that moment, he would have said, I don't want anything from your past boyfriend. Mm-hmm. That would have nipped that right there and changed it. Then you can go down another path.
That would have been a good bridge statement.
But
when we talked about before, good bridge statement.
Yes, but she took his manhood away from him.
Yeah, she did from that particular.
And didn't allow him the opportunity to express his feelings.
But you could understand that in the feeling area, because he was showing a lot of his feelings in the first place. Mm-hmm. You could tell he's a feeling brother.
Yeah.
That she was concerned about the fact that the feelings that he obviously expressed were feelings that in turn said to her, woo, these feelings could be to me weak in the matter of him being upset if he knew about my past boyfriend. So that bridge statement would have had her be conscious of the fact that's a feeling man that she was with.
Yes.
Therefore, I should be more sensitive to what? His feelings. And that bridge statement would have been, to me reasonable to have
Yes.
said to him.
Yes.
And he could have said, as you just said, nah, I ain't feeling this.
Yeah.
No, I don't want him to make that connection. I
Yeah.
could do this myself. Or he could have swallowed his pride and said, okay, let me take a look at it, and yada yada yada.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it would have avoided a lot of that
Mhm.
hurt, and what she did, she ended up adding insult to
She
injury.
did.
You know, but there is
No transparency was in that one
none,
at all.
none.
No. So going back to this, um, in the bigger picture of relationships between black men and men, or men and women in this particular case, especially in our community, in the bigger picture, if we still keep on playing that power play with one another, and we don't try to balance and find unity with one another, then we're going to continue on that power play cycle and not really be able to connect. I don't know what that noise
I
was.
don't.
We're not going to really be able to connect like we should, and we have to. I'm thinking about a saying that said, we should work together and define our own image, because that was that whole thing she was talking about.
Yes.
Defining our image, from the fact of this young man who called in and said he was having a hard time trying to get a good relationship with a black woman because of the fact they looked at his image as being negative, looked at his image as being weak, and so on and so forth. But I'm looking at a saying from a very strong man who also showed his emotions, which was, we should work together and define our own image, not separately. And that was by who? Malcolm X. He said that. So you know, when he said that, he wasn't say women just do this. You know, he didn't say men just do it. He was talking about us together in our community.
Mhm.
We need to define our own image. And why not define our own image together?
Yes.
Why not in turn see that as being a healthy, united way to be able to move forward in an expansive and what I call a very futuristic way of building our community?
And that's one of the things that if we do that, if we start building as couples, as males and females together, then we'll no longer be pitted against one another. And everything in our relationships are, I'm better at this than you are, you're better than this than or I'm better than, and it's a competition.
Mm-hmm.
If we work together toward the common good of our relationship, of our personalities, of our feelings, of where we are and where we want to be, that breaks down and takes away that separation, that whole attitude of divide and conquer. That brings relationships together instead of continuing to break them apart.
Exactly. How much more what we call power couples do we not need in our community? How much more
how many more couples do we need in our community?
Is that too? Yes,
You know?
exactly. Well, I'm talking about defining the image, but you're right. Defining the image by the purposes.
Mhm.
Okay. How much more? How about counseling couples?
Mhm.
Okay. Therapist couples, doctor couples. How about that? We
Yeah.
need more of that in our community so that our young people can see that in that positive way. From that end, and we are the ones to be changed that image.
Right.
The show we're doing is all about trying to change that image,
Yeah.
and it had nothing to do with us being perfect from that standpoint, as we always get along and that we don't have problems. That right there is, I'm gonna say this real quickly, is BS.
Yes.
It's BS. By the way, if you listen real quickly, I'm gonna give you just a little bit of surprising input about BS. By the way.
Okay.
BS is not what you think it is, okay? And if any one of you are farmers and you hear about this, you'll know what I'm talking about, okay? BS actually was a term that came in farmlands from the standpoint of what was sold to farmers was fertilizer. But the fertilizers that was sold to farmers that was good to make the soil grow and was good, fertile to break down, was fertilizer that really came from cow mess left over. Okay, cow mess. But what happened is there were some con people, some tricksters out there who were trying to make some money. Yeah, it happened in the farmland. Just as we know, some African Americans who are not getting the farmlands they deserve and the money that's coming back to them, but nothing to do with this. But there are some farmers who in turn got taken where they were given, guess what? Bulls stuff. I'm gonna say it, I guess he don't mind bullshit. And when the farmer found out that he was getting bullshit, because bullshit has mostly testosterone in it, it doesn't have any building qualities in it whatsoever. So that's where the word bullshit came from. Barbara was
I
saying,
love it.
you're giving me bullshit. Nothing of value, nothing that's going to build, nothing that's going to make me feel good. So, hey, on that end, brothers and sisters, stop giving people bullshit.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to remember that one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
definitely. We need to stop doing that in a
Yes.
relationship.
Yes.
We need to stop giving each other bullshit. We need to give each other that information, that knowledge, whether it's, I'm always smiling or not, whether I'm always in turn and I'm saying it to you in such a good way. If the information and the knowledge comes from the heart and it's authentic
Come from the spirit.
then it's going to grow.
Yes.
It's going to be something that's going to be worthwhile to put into your soul, put in your heart,
Yes.
put into who you are, and vice versa.
Even if you don't react on it immediately,
Mm-hmm.
Look at it as it's fertilizing, as it's when you put a seed in the ground, it doesn't the next day, it's not immediately popped up and growing.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a while to germinate. So when that's put into you, results are not going to be immediate. You got to give it a chance to grow naturally.
Exactly. How about this yesterday, which I don't usually do? You came by at home, you were tired as can be, and you sat, on the chair right next to my desk with all kinds of paperwork.
Which I can usually not get
Got
done.
it, exactly. But you sat there from school. I know you were tired. You looked kind of like you had enough. And I told you, I said, hey, put your feet up here. I know you were like, okay, what does he want that for? And for what? Since I don't usually do that.
Right.
And you put your foot up. I took your shoe off. But anyway, I did anyway. And I gave your feet a little bit of workout, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
And you just went to heaven.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to figure out how to get the other one up there.
So at that time, I didn't give you any bullshit.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It was, wow.
So them are the times that we should be trying, that's an action, of course, that we should try in a relationship to make sure that we give people some good cow shit. Not bullshit. That kind of uplift that is really needed in a relationship makes everybody feel good. Hey, but on a halfway mark, we're going to start talking real quickly about some of our own commercials, okay? Like, for instance, why don't you tell them a little bit where else they can find us?
On Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock, you can find us on WRUU Talk Radio. And we are also talking about relationships there. We are also taking the journey together. And WRUU is the place. Saturday mornings, 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 a.m.
And what's another place?
Facebook.
Yes.
Yes, on Facebook, you can find us at facebook.com/TTJ Together.
Oh, well, this one's on WRUU. I'm sorry, I did it at the wrong time.
That's okay.
Because this is where they can actually go back, as you can see, and see our past shows.
Yes.
From that end. This is what you were talking about, the Taking the Journey one. So we were both not on the same page. From opposite from one another.
One of us was behind the other, or one of us was ahead of the other, however you want to look at it.
Remember, you can see us 6 p.m. On the show.
On Thursday night.
Exactly. Now, we just went and decided to get some sheepskin. So we do have what you call that coaching. So, hey, we just want to say to you, if you got some concerns, you got some problems, especially some goals you want to meet, especially in relationships, thriving relationships, you want to kind of move to that, go ahead and go to our email address. You saw it coming across, and email us. And we will be glad to sit down and talk with you and kind of help you move towards the goal that you want in your relationship, especially if you want to move towards a thriving relationship, a healthy relationship, where both of you are able to share with one another and feel good about that. We'll be glad to help you out with it and share with you the nuggets that we have, and hopefully you could even surpass what we do and what we are doing, because we want to see the best in our relationships. We want to see the best in our community. Definitely. And as you said before, the need for more of these relationships. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. There's more, especially for our young folks coming up. They're our next generation. We have to have open them.
And, there was this one thing as that just keeps popping into my head.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the thing that the lady said about women are doing their thing, so men need to get together and do theirs.
Mm-hmm.
If women are doing things like producing TV shows and producing movies about the Black female experience. What is wrong with having strong Black male characters within that experience instead of, the stereotypical Black males that are in all of the other?
Usually all dysfunctional.
Yes.
Yeah,
And they bring dysfunction into the relationship.
exactly.
So you'll have this female that's got it all together and doing all this and running lives, and then she connects with this man that is not. She doesn't do anything to bring him up, but he does everything to bring her down. See, that's wrong in the writing and in the producing.
Well,
We have some, if we as women have the power to control how we are portrayed in the public, we can use that power to change the image, which is negative for Black men as a whole.
that leads us into what are the three kind of customary ways that women appear or appeal to men.
Okay, the first one is, I'm so intelligent. Let me get back over here. I'm
Mhm.
so intelligent. I know everything. I can help you out. My mind is good. I'm, blah, blah,
Got my
blah,
own
blah, blah.
money. I'm
Yeah.
the clean.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
need a man.
independent, and but I still, I want a man. I just don't need a man.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong. But anyway, that's my opinion.
Okay.
That's the first way.
Mm-hmm.
The second way is, excuse me.
Choking up there.
I know.
Come on, get it out.
The second way is, don't I look good?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you do.
I
But,
got my hair done just perfect.
Mhm.
My makeup is great.
Mhm.
My hair may not be mine, but it's mine.
Mhm. Physical appearance.
Exactly. I got the great waistline and the hips and the everything. I am so hot in the other direction from what we're pushing here.
Mhm.
I got the hot looks.
Exactly. You're so hot. If I look at you, you're gonna get pregnant.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
What's the last one that a lot of times women use to appeal towards men or draw men to them? What's a lot last
The
one?
last one is, I'm a good girl.
Oh, the
I go to
morality.
church every Sunday,
Mhm.
every Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
every Tuesday. I'm the head of the choir. I'm the church secretary.
Mm-hmm. What you do that too? No, I'm not joking. You look like a good girl. Go ahead.
I am a good girl.
There you go. You wear granny panties? No, I'm just joking. I mean, that's what good girls do, I guess.
Well,
They're not like other street girls. How's
No,
that?
no,
I ain't like those girls
no.
down the street.
no.
First one on the church on Sunday.
I'm the kind of, and the last one to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the kind of girl that you would take home to your parents and
Mhm.
everything would be just fine. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, once I get you, I might not turn out to be that way,
Mm-hmm.
but in the meantime,
Yeah.
I'm that good girl.
In the meantime, so those kind of ways we talked about before, getting back to men's
Yes.
emotions, back to why we talked about why these men will act that way,
Mhm.
has everything to do with their emotions not being able to be expressed.
Yes.
And the emotions we know that are usually being expressed is that anger and the rage.
Mhm.
And then there's that other one, which is that emotion of being a minstrel,
Yes.
being the clown,
Yes.
someone you just don't take serious whatsoever. Those are the societal things that have allowed and pushed most, as you know, Black men to only kind of be the image that they only can be from
Right.
that end. And then, we talked about how my dad and my uncles who passed away because of alcohol, drunk too much, because their feelings many times was society ain't treating me right, my woman ain't treating me right, or my women ain't treating me right,
Mhm.
and I don't feel good about me, but all I can do is keep it inside me.
Yeah.
And this alcohol helps to
Numbs
cover it
the
all
pain.
out, numbs the pain. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we now are talking about how a man's feelings, in this case, in those three traditional stereotypical ways, how they are not honorable to that man.
Mhm.
They really keep him in a way where he's not thriving.
Right.
He's not really being open to himself. He doesn't really feel good about himself from the standpoint, because he might have some feelings that he may not be able to open to say to you. Like he might have some feelings of I'm afraid of how my children are not necessarily reaching out to me the way I think that they should. And I'm not going to say anything to you because you ain't going to really care. Or at the same time, I can't do nothing about it. And if I say something to you, the first thing you may say was, "You are at fault with that. You did that.
Yeah.
You made it happen." And I may say, inside, I know I didn't. And I feel bad enough that it seems to be I have no control in this matter of why they don't really want to talk to me. Or when they do, they're very angry as can be. And I know it's not just me because there's two sides of the story. But I can't say anything to you because you're not going to really listen to my feelings.
Yes. And the other side to that, or the same side to that, is as soon as the relationship breaks up, it's all his fault because he never listened to me. He never did this and he never did that. But you never got to the crux of what he was feeling, because you never talked about feelings, but you would cry on his shoulder. You would come in and complain. You would complain about all kinds of different things. You would talk about how you weren't happy about this, that, and the other. You would talk about what was going wrong at the job. You would talk about how he's not doing things right. Your feelings were just all over the house, all over the place. His feelings were sitting in that chair.
Yeah.
His feelings were imprisoned. His feelings were not thought about because your feelings were more important. So when it comes down to that, yes, he was carrying out the dysfunctional side of acting out. But you can't say it was all his fault that the marriage or the relationship broke up.
No doubt about it. When you look at those traditional ways that do happen, that many times women use to draw men to them, if that man is hiding from his emotions, as you just talked about, he's like a balloon getting ready to pop.
Yes.
And many times that's what happens. Or that's why he's gone for a couple of days, don't come back. I mean, and we're talking about all those things that have to do in a striving relationship, a surviving relationship. In a thriving relationship, which is what we are trying to push more in this area of man's feeling, is you are to use that basis of what? Friendship. And using that basis of friendship, you're not going to be looking at him as being weak.
Right.
You're going to be about trying to be sensitive to his feelings. You're going to have your antennas out trying to see if you can lock into the frequency of his feelings, because many a times those guys really are putting out a frequency of his feelings. You may be able to see it by his body language. You may be able to see it by his temperament too at the same time, how his tone of voice, anywhere it goes. And sometimes it could be his vibes from that spiritual side he's putting out. And if you're not being sensitive as a friend in that relationship, which is what a thriving relationship is all about, being healthy, being very open, and being inspirational, then you're going to miss that.
Yeah. And ladies, this is something that I have learned as I have been going through my growth period, my growth process. If your man is sitting in a chair sleeping all evening, when he gets home, he just sits in the chair and he falls asleep and he has no conversation for you, don't just assume that it's you. Because first of all, the world does not surround around you. Consider the possibility that he may be depressed and need to talk about it. We don't think about the fact that, that there are other causes. It's just, he's so lazy, he'll come home and don't do anything. There's depression that has those same symptoms. We sometimes have, and I'm not saying that men are children, but I'm talking about here the way it's manifest. We have kids a lot in classroom that they just sleep. They come, they sit down, and they fall asleep. And the more you talk to them, the more you realize that there are things that are going on that they're dealing with inside them, and they are in a place of depression. Because not only are they sleeping in class, but they're sleeping at home. And, every chance they get, they're sleeping, because sleeping is another coping mechanism where you don't have to deal with what's really bothering you.
And by the way, she's talking to, I know some psychologists and others out there who could, hopefully either agree with this or maybe not. But depression is not unusual. Depression is not a imbalance in a relationship or in a person that in turn doesn't exist. It does.
Right.
Normal people go through depression, and when outside environment like the COVID right now, okay, like lack of jobs, like violence in your community, like in this particular case, a man not feeling like he can open up to his feelings in a relationship. Depression is right there as a friend to pull right up to your bumper and say, hey, let's talk.
Exactly.
Let's get together.
Let's hang out.
Let's hang out.
Oh, and by the way, here's a bottle of beer. Here's a glass of liquor.
Or here's another woman I can get to.
Yeah. I'm bringing solutions to you.
Exactly.
But they're not going to help.
But I'm just saying depression is there. That is also part of life from that end. How we deal with that depression, whether it's ourselves dealing with that depression or in the relationship like we're talking about, where your mate gives you the comfortability that she's a friend, so therefore you can open up with your feelings and not keep them to yourself. When you're going through that depressive state where you're not feeling good, can you in turn feel open up to say something to you? I know not too long ago I wasn't feeling good about myself. I can't remember exactly what it was. Something was going on in the community, or something was going on with what I was doing. I told you one morning, I got up in the morning and I felt like I wanted to hurt me or hurt somebody. I didn't feel good whatsoever. And it wasn't a feeling that I know that I created.
Right.
Thoughts first and then feelings. I know I didn't create that whatsoever because I went to bed that night with you and I didn't feel that way. But in the morning, boom, it just seemed to come and it seemed to manifest. It seemed to grow. And I'm like, okay, I can't keep on in turn allowing the entertainment of this thought that I know has nothing to do with my life to keep on thinking that it had a right to continue in my mind. So I said, let me go ahead and share that with you. You're the friend. So I shared that with you. And you remember in our conversation, by me getting it off of me and sharing with you, it was easier for that particular thought to go bamuski. In so many words, it just left because it wasn't my thought in the first place. I don't know what plan I got there. That's another deep kind of spiritual kind of conversation. But I know by sharing it with you, getting it off of my chest and being able to talk with you about it, there was that coming together, that connection that we got together that helped it to overlook it, or in this case, as we said, just disappear and go someplace else. So the importance, I guess I'm trying to say, of being able to have that friendship and that relationship where he feels like, number one, does he feel like I'm needed? I felt like I was needed. One of my feeling like I was needed, that I can get things off my chest with my friend, the person that I love, that I care about. But they also love and care about me. What's the other one that we see?
Does he feel safe around you, or does he fear your reactions?
That was one of them.
And this is one thing that triggered me to that I remembered when you were saying that. You don't have to have the answers. Sometimes just listen, because it's hard enough. What I have found, it's hard enough for a man to let his feelings out. But the minute you interrupt to answer or to solve the problem, could be the minute that you shut him down because he's just not rolling with it, And sometimes he doesn't need you or want you to do more than just be a sounding block, and that's okay. You just be what he needs when he needs it.
Exactly. And no, we're not talking about when he in turn is angry and rageful, then you need to be a punching bag for him, or you in turn need to let me go out and get you another bottle of beer on the wall. No, we're not talking about that.
That's enabling.
That's exactly enabling, and that's another level that has to do with getting a counselor. That's in turn getting a psychologist involved, and if it gets too bad, you may have to get the authorities involved. We're not referring to that because them are on surviving relationships anyway.
Relationships hanging on by a thread.
Exactly. So on the surviving side, the healthy relationship, on the thriving and healthy relationship, these are the ones that we're talking about, that these are the things you do, because in healthy, thriving relationship, it's all about the fact that things are not perfect. That doesn't
Yes.
even exist. It's about keeping things in a balance in your relationship. That's what's very, very important. So when you look at that and you focus on how you react with your man
Mhm.
and how you are able to invoke what we talk about,
Uh,
invoke feelings and grab is what?
and I'm sorry.
Oh my God, where's your mind at? Oh my
My
God, that's the wrong feeling. I
I,
know what you were feeling
no, no,
already.
no.
Thinking,
Because my mind was rolling down.
grab his emotions is what we're talking about.
Yes, I understand that, but here's what
What's that?
I was just thinking about how important it is
Mm-hmm.
for us to listen, for us to pay attention. And I was listening to you, and I had gotten locked in on, and I do this often. I get
Mm-hmm.
locked in on your voice and what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want you to continue, and then
Well,
you'll do one of your pop quizzes, and I'm going,
well, there wasn't pop quiz. I wanted you to keep on going in to what we were referring to
Yes.
at the same time.
I
I know you love to just follow along, no
I
doubt about it.
do.
But the fact of the necessary side of that assertiveness
Mhm.
is important as part of sharing the relationship.
Yeah.
So if I'm non-open, because I'm more open anyway with my feelings than others,
Right.
and you have other scenarios out there where men are not as open with their
Mhm.
feelings, then we're also trying to let the other relationships with women know that they also have to be more assertive in
Mhm.
grabbing that emotion,
Yes.
that man's feeling, because he may not be open like me.
Right.
He may have all
And
of
most
those things.
and 9 times out of 10, he is not. You're one of the most open men I have ever seen.
Sometimes
And
too much, but yeah.
yes, and I you project your feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and so I can pick up on your feelings, and so that makes it easy. But I hope, my belief is
Mm-hmm.
that I give you the opportunity to express your feelings without having any negativity associated with it.
One thing is for sure, the working on you being more assertive in that area,
Mhm.
because I mean, I'm still a man, so
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
sometimes I keep my emotions to myself,
Yeah.
and don't say anything, not because the emotion's not there. It's just my mind thought is, I don't need to bring this up. I got something else that need to be done. I don't need to have these emotions out. That doesn't mean that in turn is something wrong or unintimate about you trying to grab my emotion.
Right.
You may be able to see something about me, feel something about me. I'm not paying attention. We're not always in touch with ourselves all the
Yes.
time.
No.
In that relationship, that's part of that sharing with one another. When someone else is not in touch with themselves, hopefully you are there to, how can I say, with your connection and knowing me as a friend, you'll get in touch with
Yeah.
something that I'm not in touch with.
And that's another thing that popped into my mind that
Mhm.
was uh, as a possible solution, as a possible way to get things started
Mm-hmm.
for you to deal with your man feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can come together on that same page,
Mm-hmm.
is have a day out of the week. And it doesn't have to be the same day because schedules change,
Mm-hmm.
but have a day out of the week where dinner's done and everything is finished, or even maybe over dinner, you know nothing else going on,
Mm-hmm.
no TV, nothing. You can maybe have soft music or whatever, and say, okay, how are you feeling today?
Mhm.
What has affected you this week, and start that discussion.
Exactly. Well, we're going to be winding down because this is going to be our final conversation and delivery, if you may want to say, about men's feelings. I think our feelings have been said enough, but I hope we don't think this is a waste of time. And we encourage you to inspire me, because that's what it does when a woman opens up and allows her man
Yeah.
to be able to express his feelings outside of anger and rage. And he could be the best for himself. He will be the best for the family. He'll be the best for the community if he has that opportunity to feel like it's okay. So in that relationship that you're in, sisters or ladies or who is out there listening, say to yourself, and say to yourself in your relationship, am I beautiful? Am I intelligent? Am I financially stable? Do not use that as being your basis in that relationship only. because
Yeah.
that's only about your feelings.
Exactly.
You gotta also turn around, be concerned about your feelings. Does not your man understand more about you? Do you not understand more about him? What are the ways that you can keep your man engaged in your relationship? Through his emotions. Emotional balanced men is what we need in our community. Emotional balanced men is what you need in your relationship. Am I right? You don't want a man that's always angry all the time. You don't
No.
want a man that's always, in turn, giving you a hard time or acting like a clown all the time.
Or
You don't want no
silent.
baby boy. You want a man. And that is what we're talking about. Let's talk about real quickly before we shut down some emotional balanced men. We got some examples. I'm going to give the first one. If you
Okay.
don't mind. Do you mind? Or should I give the last one?
Go for it.
First one, Malcolm X, talking about a balanced, emotional man. No doubt about it. He showed it in the community in his own way, and you know he showed that behind the doors, which is very important with the woman you love. What's some other emotionally balanced men that we can think
For
of?
those of you who remember, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Yes.
Chadwick Boseman,
Mm-hmm.
Ozzie Davis, Denzel Washington, Muhammad Ali, Isaac Hayes, Lawrence Fishburne, Forrest Whitaker, all of these characters or men or personalities show us positive emotional relationships.
Which were coming through men. So at next time, just want to say, hey, stay positive, stay uplift, make sure your relationship stays balanced and
continue-
thriving, and continue. Well, I'm sorry, Ben.
I'm sorry, and just continue to take the journey together.
Yes, continue to take that journey together. Peace, Ashe, and we out of here. Until next time. We're not going nowhere.
I like that.